fact, that was.
No more room in hell. The dead walk here.
What's up, horror fiends, and welcome to another episode of Three Corners of Horror. We are a man down. Rick, feel better, but we got a great corner here tonight with us. So I am Joe, the psychologist, and let me first greet, because I'm going to say when we do this series, she's pretty much going to be showing up on here. So, Angel, are you ready to talk some VHS?
Yeah, look, I'm like all decked out and
80s.
Oh,
Damn it, I
yeah.
thought about that. I wanted to
I'm
do
so
some.
ready.
Damn it, I wanted to do some 80s stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all right, and of course, my brother JR. You ready to talk some VHS here?
Yes. Was this one good or was it just a continual step backwards?
Uh-oh. Somebody's gonna be a Debbie Downer. No, I'm just kidding. Well, as I said, I am Joe the psychologist, and I am joined by Angel from Voices in the Mausoleum, and obviously my brother JR here. So tonight we're going to be discussing VHS 85. It is on Shudder or AMC Plus. If you have AMC, you have Shudder. But anyways, and well, this is the sixth in the series, and I'm sitting here alone tonight because I've got the king and queen of found footage. So I'm feeling like I'm gonna be like stuck here alone on this island. But you know, I got my Vaseline, so I'm ready to fight. But you know, so this movie consists of segments. In the last one, you know, I will say, like we discussed what our favorite and our worst was, and this time around we're gonna touch on all of them, you know, because obviously even the weak ones we should make a little comment on. And what I'm gonna say is, when I go to you, I'm not gonna give the description because obviously we're discussing found footage shorts, so if I pretty much start describing the whole thing, it doesn't leave much for you guys to talk. You know, so as if you have not watched this, and if you have not watched any other VHS series, basically in the beginning you get a story. That story in between the other segments is then played out, and in between those you get all these shorts. This movie did something, unless you guys are going to prove me wrong later, that I hadn't seen in the VHS, where some of the two segments actually connected.
They hadn't done that before.
Picked up on that one. So that is what we're gonna do. We're gonna just sit here and talk each one. So the first one is God of Death by Gigi Guerrero. So Angel, I'm going to go with you first on this one. Give us a little brief description, your thoughts on this segment.
Okay. Yeah, so this one is we start out watching like a news station. I believe it's in Mexico, right?
It's in Mexico.
Yeah, and there's like these people interacting, and then there's like this what seems to be like this massive earthquake. Kills somebody, then we get this like these rescuers that come in and save the camera guy, basically our reason that we get to see what happens. and they go and they're like going through like all the rubble, trying to get through the building and trying to get out. And I do like it takes us to like, I don't know, like another section of the building, and then we find out that it wasn't just like a regular earthquake, that it was actually something more. Do you want me to say what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Like
yeah, and then we find out that it's the title of the film, God of Death. Yeah, this one, okay, so this one, I really liked the opening and I really liked the ending, but a lot of the middle was a little dry for me. Like it seems like, I don't know if you guys have seen Jerusalem.
I have not. It's on my list.
Yeah, so there's a lot of segments in Jerusalem that look and feel exactly like this. And so I think that kind of took me out of it, because I was like, okay, well, I've seen things like this before, but at least in Jerusalem, you got like things happening periodically while they're navigating. Whereas this, it was like nothing. It was just rocks and attempts to be funny, and like it was very weird. And then I hated that it was like that, because then when we get to the ending with the guy, the thing coming out of the wall, and like we get all the gore, and I thought all of that was so good, but it felt like an eternity for a short. And I just think it's like that was the one thing I struggled with, because otherwise I liked the premise, I liked the concept, it took forever to get there, and there was nothing that happened in between to keep me like engaged.
I kind of agree a little bit with that. JR, what about you?
No, I totally agree. You start with a good premise and comical premise in a way, because you got one guy, he's been the cameraman for this woman for a long time.
Yeah.
With her eyebrows, those eyebrows killed me.
Ironically, you had the clumsy reporter that was outside who survived, which is a good twist to this. But the fact that it felt like the whole middle portion was like, all right, let's just kill the one person. All right, let's kill this person. All right, let's kill this person. Okay, we have 3 people left. Let's see who survives. And then the woman survives. Well, she becomes possessed and rips the heart out. But it was I agree. It didn't feel original. And that's because the thing about VHS is they bring in these different directors and they hope to give a creative original vision. But this one, for its title even, kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh my God, that's okay. Then they have to go and mention all the different gods they are in the pantheon of Mexican, mythology, which I'm like, okay, you did that too. All right. And then all right, let's make sure we get the woman naked, because that's what we have to do.
Adam did make that comment with the
naked there was no need to have her go naked. Why have her go naked? And I mean, she could have did everything she did with her clothes on. And then it's just, for me, I'll be honest, I was let down with it, because it, like Angel said, it did have a good beginning. It did have a good premise.
Yeah.
But the fact that they go so lower into the depths of this building that they end up in a whole different cave system that they never knew that was there, which once again didn't make any sense to me. And I mean, they should have had more. If you're going to show shots of outside, like Jerusalem, I totally agree. You look outside, there's things going on outside that drive them to go even lower, to drive them to go into hiding.
Yeah.
There was at one point where they passed a balcony. Well, not for nothing. You're a rescue worker. You could jump over that balcony. That was only one story. I mean, not for nothing. I'm jumping over.
Yeah.
But there's certain scenes like, all right, it was like filler. Let's have a couple of death scenes and let's try to go out and bang.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So here's the thing. So I actually thought this one was kind of cool, because the date that you saw, that was actually when the earthquake did happen in Mexico that day.
Yeah, that's true.
So out of all the VHS ones that we've seen, this one was actually something that would have taken place on an actual event. Found footage is generally generated, whereas this one built upon something that actually happened. And then I think it's Mictlan was the name of the god of death. Just having it look like the god of death maybe have caused this earthquake in Mexico.
Yeah, sure.
I thought kind of added a little bit cool to the story. However, I will agree with you guys on the part, like just the whole, there was a little comedy going down, it dragged a little bit too long for me. And when you got the reveal of the god, like I would have wanted to see more of that. So I'm gonna say, I guess I didn't. For me, this was one of the ones more on the downer side, on the weaker side of the series. Not series, for the episodes on this one. All right, so next, we're going to do Techno God. This one is directed by Natasha Kermani. And, I'm going to go with JR first on this one. You do editing. I mean, I know, Angel, you do too. but as far as in the show that we do, like JR and Rick are involved much in shows and stuff. So, JR, I'm going with you on this one. Give us a description on this one and your thoughts on it.
So you had this woman who, the first thing I thought was like, all right, we're going to watch some slam poetry. He goes on stage, very small crowd, I expected a bigger crowd, and goes into this whole tangent about the coming of the new gods. Which, not for nothing, when I first saw this story, I thought, I was like, all right, this reminds me of American Gods, because this is what the concept of American Gods.
Yeah.
The old gods being forgotten, the new gods technology coming through, and the fact that she goes into this whole tangent and puts on the VR, I mean, they called it, what was it the guy called?
Oh my God, the iPhone.
iPhones.
Because they keep saying iPhone, and I'm going,
iPhones.
iPhones were not around around then. And like that literally threw me off when he said iPhones, when he meant the contraption.
I think it was meant to be like that. I think it was meant to be like a
honestly, so this, I feel that this one is basically a what's my least favorite thing in horror movies? The messages.
Oh yeah.
So this is building on iPhones and technology being the new devil in our lives. So stop putting messages in our horror movies. We escape life to watch our movies. Please stop. All right. Anyway, JR.
Well, the thing is, she goes on and puts it on and starts provoking this tech god. When she said tech, I was like, all right, techno. I thought it would have been cool if they put some techno music or some house music in the background to really put some feel to it, because not for nothing, this is another one where I get what they were trying to say, but I didn't feel like there was, like I said, they're doing slam poetry. It didn't feel like there was energy behind it. It felt, once again, a little bit flat. And the fact is that when we finally, I mean, I'll leave the in between, but at the end of it, when they remove the visor, what do you see? Just the eyeballs constantly like
moving around,
brain exposed, because that's what society is now. That's the message, like you were saying, that we just have our eyes open the whole time, our brains basically exposed and nothing's going in, and we're just just staring. Which, yeah, and I mean, not for nothing, if you actually go watch a show on live on stage and somebody loses a leg, the last thing you want to do is
I'm out.
Yeah.
No, I'm out. Honestly, I don't give a fuck about what's going on stage. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I'm out. If she goes up in the air and her leg twists, I'm out. If I have a date, I'm leaving my date. Like, honestly, I am out. So JR is right. You see that, and everybody's like, but that's kind of what
part of the message.
Yes, that you're like just stuck there like that. Ugh, the messages in horror.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave it up to Angel.
Actually, yes, Angel, you're next.
Yeah, this wasn't one of my favorites either. I think, first of all, one person show rant things like that make me so uncomfortable. It's so cringy. And so I was immediately like, oh, I don't like this. And then, I don't know. I thought the gore looked good. That's that was the one positive was, when her leg came off, it looked like it came off. Like it didn't look like, something fake or cheesy. Like they spent some time making that look legitimate. But again, it's another thing where pretty much what you guys were saying before, it's like when we go into at least for me, like when I go into the VHS series, I'm looking for unique things I've never seen before. I've seen this story. Buffy has an episode about this exact situation. Like
look out for Buffy.
Yeah, it's like one of the that's like one of those things where it's like, oh, like I just really wanted something different. And so when she came out, I was uncomfortable. And then it escalated. And like when it is like where she's like talking shit to this thing. And I don't know, like it felt very silly and overused. And outside of the gore, like I said, the gore looked amazing. But outside, and I did think it was funny when they kept referring to it as like the eye thing. I thought that was kind of funny.
The iPhones. I'm like,
iPhones.
And I'm like, but so you know what happened? I watched it with Adam, and I had put on the closed captioning that time around, and then it actually spelled out I-E-Y-E. And I'm like, oh my God, that's why it sounds that way.
Yeah.
I did not like this one. I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh no.
No, yeah. When I was watching it, I fell asleep, and then I rewound it because when you fall asleep, you rewind it to make sure. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't miss anything. But most of all, because it was again just a message on society being on their technology, and iPhones. I'm an Android. So
too.
at least I'm not worried about this shit. Are you Android, JR?
No, I got iPhone.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
Do you ever think it's weird though when they give these technology messages through the use of technology? It's like, no one's gonna get your shitty message because we're all like I think it's just it seems so silly to be like, we're gonna talk about against technology, using technology to do so. It's kind of like asinine.
Thank you.
She's with the mixer the whole time, making sure her voice sounds. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I for me this was the one segment I could have done without.
Yeah.
Like somebody else.
It was the shortest, right?
And it was short. And actually,
it was too long for me, to be honest.
No, I was gonna say, JR, like literally, it wasn't short. It was a little bit long.
Oh, I thought it was shorter than the other one.
Yeah, no, I could have done without this one. So next, we're gonna do Scott Derrickson's Dream Kill, and I love this one. This is one that I would want to see as a full length, just to see a little bit more of the cat and mouse chase. But a little fun fact: this episode took place on JR's birthday.
Oh.
When I watched that, I'm like, and the second time I caught that, the first time I'm like, did it say it? And I kept watching it. And then when I rewatched it again, it's JR's birthday when this episode happened to take place. And I loved it. I mean, I'm a person, I dream a lot. So I've had a sleep study done. I don't have like apnea, but there's a possibility I have REM behavior disorder because I talk and move in my dream. Like as I'm dreaming, I actually talk and move. But the craziest thing is that I sometimes will dream stuff that happens. If I ever dream of fish and I announce I just dreamt of fish, somebody is going to turn out pregnant. Like literally, and in the Puerto Rican folklore, when you dream of fish, someone's going to be pregnant. But I love this one. I loved it, because it's police. So you have murders happening. Mm-hmm. So you have basically, again, guys, if you haven't watched the movie yet, it's all getting ruined for you. But someone is sending tapes to the police, and there are murders that have already taken place. And you have the cops show up who received these tapes, say, I just saw all this. And then they bring in a kid who says that when he starts streaming, this camera that he bought starts recording, and it basically records his dreams. I thought this was inventive. It's literally something I have not seen in a horror movie, to have someone who, JR, you saw it already?
Mm-hmm.
You did? Well, I'll let you finish that. But I have not seen something where it showed that the person can dream, it can get recorded and show it. So I really like this one. James Ransone, even though we totally take a poop on Twilight, but he's from Twilight. But I actually think he's really cute. So I've followed him. He's done some other roles. But he played a creepy character, and just I think it's Freddie Rodriguez is the name of the actor who played the cop that was his friend. I like this one. I liked seeing this. It was my first time. Jared's about to say that they've done this before, but it was my first time seeing where a camera recorded a dream of something that's going to happen. So I like this one. Like, this was one that if it was turned into a full feature, I would enjoy it being played out, especially with the cop getting the tapes as they're being done and it taking it longer for him to finally get there. Because obviously all these segments are short films. So it's all really quick. But I actually enjoy Dream Kill. It was one of my favorite ones. I'm going to wait till the end, because this is between 1 and 2, because there's another segment we're going to talk about that might take number 1, but I really, really like this one. And Angel, I'm going to go to you next. What did you think of Dream Kill?
I didn't like Dream Kill.
Oh no. I knew that I was fucked with the horror people. I mean,
so the thing is like I think conceptually it's a solid idea. And I liked the slashers, the slasher scenes, and I thought those were fine, like the home invasion things. I thought was good and creepy and uncomfortable. And the thing that bothers me the most about this is so nitpicky, but it just ruined the experience for me. I really hate that they made the one with the dream kills this like over the top goth kid. When I tell you I saw the kid, I was out. I was like, nope. I was like, this is going to be my least favorite. I can't stand things like that. That's over the top tropey. I was so pissed because conceptually it was cool. I was into it. And then they made it this, like over the top goth. Like I just couldn't. And I think my problem with that is that it's like, why did it have to be somebody that in that time frame society would have deemed weird? Like, why couldn't it just be like a normal person, like somebody who just looked like everybody else? That to me would have been like far more appealing. Cause like when I was in high school, I had friends that looked like that, and I got, and even just by association, you can't even probably picture me goth because I've never been goth, but because I had like a wallet chain and I wore skater shoes, I was called goth. And so there's like this whole stigma around it. And the people that dress and act and look a certain way and they get put in these little boxes. And it just triggered something in me that made me hate the rest of the experience. And I was like, I don't like this one. And I wish that one thing completely took me out of it because it didn't make sense. It didn't need to be there. It was an unnecessary trope choice, and it ruined the experience for me because I think it should have just been somebody just like anybody else, like a normal teenager. Like it didn't need to be this weird. I don't know. It just really bothered me.
All right, I should put my seatbelt on. I guess JR has not. Wow. Like Jesus, I'm sitting here like, damn. I'm like, oh, I love this one. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get crucified. All right, because JR, you saw this before, I guess.
Well, not the. All right, this reminded me a little bit of the Poughkeepsie tapes with the whole video footage. That's where immediately I see Poughkeepsie tapes. I'm like, all right,
that's true.
Now there's another film. See, it's an old film. I forgot who the actor was. For some reason, I think it was Blue Diamond Films, but maybe it wasn't. But there was a film where a guy would dream and see through the eyes of the killer. And then he would go to the cops and say, look, this person's going to get killed. And the cops are like, oh, how do you know? How do you know? Lo and behold, the person gets killed and he was a suspect. But where I think they messed up in this one, not for nothing, I think this one should have been the wraparound story because they could have gotten a little bit more in depth.
That would be
I thought the same thing.
Yes.
I literally said this when we covered this in my show. I literally said that same thing. I was like, this should have been the in-between show.
Yes.
This should have been the wraparound one because you could have gotten that opportunity to go a little bit more in depth with it.
Yeah.
Now, the guy was a cop. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, shit. It's a young Gary Oldman. He looked just like him.
Who, Freddie Rodriguez? I mean, if
he looked like Gary Oldman.
That's Freddie Rodriguez.
But he looked like a young Gary. No, he looked like a young Gary Oldman when I seen him. I was like, oh shit, that's Gary Oldman with the mustache and the slick back hair. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is something really I've seen before, and they could have taken their time. If it was the wraparound story, it would have been better because the fact that you have too many plot holes in it. I mean, wouldn't it have been fun to learn a little bit about the background of the fact that, was it his sister had it and then passed out the son and he had it and he hated it. But then if he had it and he hated it, then how come he didn't foresee what was going to happen to him? But anyways.
I don't think he had it though.
Oh, he said I hate it.
He hates it
but
because
it didn't really say if he had it or not. That's the word.
I thought he hated it because he didn't have it.
No, I think he had it.
All right.
He hated that he had it because
doesn't matter. You guys,
him, his sister,
anyway.
No, it had potential. Like the gore kills were good. Very similar to Poughkeepsie tapes.
Yeah, it did.
The mentality of it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
That's where the minute I seen them going to the house, I was like, oh, this is freaking Poughkeepsie tapes. And then they throw the twist about the kid. Now I do agree with Angel about the use of the goth kid.
That's the second time he said that. Are you writing this down for memory?
But here's the whole
we
thing.
need
Though, like,
to talk about the fact that that never happened.
I came in here. I came in here like all like guards up, going against you two, and you two are like agreeing on things, like, and like when me and you agreed on things, like Jerry and Rick were like, "What the fuck is going on?" Normally these two are fighting, but like you guys agree on a lot on this one.
No, I mean, being that, I mean, it is when you watch a lot of found footage, you do see a lot of these things in films already. And the thing with VHS, when it first came out, it set a new ground for creative, original found footage.
It did.
And the fact is, we've already talked about 3 films already. And out of 3 films, each film has something similar to something else.
Yep.
And that's something that is, unfortunately, it's not good for the series. Yeah. Which we'll talk about later. But this one had a lot of potential, and I feel like the fact that they didn't use it as a wraparound story was a mistake. And I think if they would have used it with a wraparound story, you could have went a little bit more in depth. Even if you would have used the goth kid, you could have went into more depth on the kid himself.
Yeah.
You know, so you have potential to open it up more. Now, I do agree it should be a feature film because you could go more. The only downside to that is that you can't do a feature film on it now because basically
they'd have to change the twist or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool that the dad went nuts and started killing everybody in the freaking police station, which is, and the fact that, like, not for that, like, how do you not know that this dude got suspended and no longer a cop? I mean, there is the little flaw.
There is a lot of plot holes.
Yeah, there is. But this is where if it was the wraparound story,
would have had,
yeah. All right, so the next segment is actually a combination because you had No Wake and then you had Ambrosia, directed by Mike P. Nelson. So this is one of the first ones on VHS where it connected 2 stories.
Yep.
Because generally you have the one continuous one that we're all paying attention to. Mm-hmm. And then you had one that ended with them making a decision. And then you had another story that showed the decision on that one. So Angel, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What did you think of the No Wake Ambrosia basically story segment?
So these were the 2 segments that I loved of the whole thing. First of all, so the first one, we get these like friends and they're going camping, it looks like, and they go out on the boat and you're thinking, what is going to happen? Like, where is this going to go? Because the trailer for this, it like gave you you had no idea what was going to happen, like what was going on. It didn't break down a lot of the story. So, and then we get the girl that's skiing and then she gets shot. And I was like,
I didn't realize she got shot.
I did.
Once I watched it the second time, I heard
you could hear
sound,
it. Yeah.
But not the first time.
And I was like, oh no, like, okay. And then like everybody starts getting, and this was like a slow moment for me because it took the one that got shot on the skis coming back into the boat before I was like, oh my God, they're like zombies. Like it took me until, because it shows that girl, they all get hurt in some way or another. And the girl that had like her mouth coming off, I was like looking at her and it was just like this delayed like loading screen in my head. And I was like, and then they dragged the other girl in and I'm like, there's no way she survived that. And I was like, oh, wait. And I thought that was so cool. I loved that. I didn't make the connection as to why until obviously we get later when we go on land and they find the other 2 friends. One or two that are in the tent and they're dead, but they didn't come back. And then he's like, the only difference is, and this is the guy that's got his brains hanging out.
He's
like walking around and he's like, the only difference is like they went in the water. And I was like, what? I was like, that's weird.
There was warnings, like literally the plaques
all over. Yeah.
Don't go in the water.
Yeah. And they saw was it like a dead deer or something? And then when they looked at like what in there. So I missed that completely. I didn't even remember that happened until somebody else I was talking to about this, like said, oh yeah. And then they saw the deer and I was like, I don't even remember that. Like I was so focused on, and then we get that weird shot of the side of their like camper thing that's got like the Roman numeral 7. And I was like, okay.
It was weird
whatever.
that you saw 7 out of nowhere, and then
yeah, and I was like, okay, and so what happened was I started looking for that number in all of them, and then I didn't see it again until we got to Ambrosia. When that girl said something about killing 7 people, I was like, no fucking way they connected 2 of these. What? I was like, literally, like, I was so happy because
awesome.
all the ones in between had not been super great, and then I really liked the first one, and now we were going back to that, and it's that girl's like celebration of her killing 7 people is like part of their like cult thing that they do, and she's like, she goes outside and gets and like this didn't click either.
That's the first time
she gets squirted with the water gun.
Yes.
And I was like, okay,
The water
whatever.
gun that got filled up in.
Think about it, because we don't see the clips of them doing that until the end of this one. And then, you know, their house gets raided. They're like, you know, you got to fight them off. And then if you get cornered, you got to like take yourself out. So she goes to take herself out and her ass wakes back up. I'm like, talk about the best level of revenge. You just robbed her not only of the 7 kills she's supposed to have to be whatever she's trying to be, but now she can't even kill herself to get away from the punishment of what she's done.
Yep.
What? I was so, and then we get the clips of them filling up the gun. I'm literally like starry-eyed. I was like, so, and I know we're going to rate it later, but just so you know, it's solely based on these 2 pieces because
totally.
They were so well done and so creative and weird and different. And I was like so into it. I loved both of these segments. Like, so I don't think I had a problem with either one of these at all.
All right, JR.
So
you ready? All right. I'm gonna sit back. Maybe it's gonna be finally it's gonna be JR versus Angel and not me versus you two.
I think that's it because I might end up getting dry throat or something.
All
right, no. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say. So this is where I think VHS 85 made a mistake. Get rid of the techno god. You could have had these basically broken down to the 3 segments. You could have had the beginning portion, show the first girl get shot, or show basically hear the gunfire. Jump into the party where you could start explaining a little bit. A little bit more what's going on. Yeah, have them go back and forth because now the one thing I questioned in this one was now they took their RV, they dropped off the gun, right? And then they took off. For me, I feel like they should have stayed.
Why?
Because when she gets pulled out of the freaking, imagine her getting pulled out after she blew her brains out, getting pulled out of the house, and who's across the street watching everything go down?
But they don't have the cops coming.
Huh?
I think actually hold on. I think they called the cops.
You think they called the cops?
I think they called the cops. I think that.
Oh, I didn't think about them calling the cops.
I think that they told the little boy, spray this person, and they called the cops, so the cops couldn't show up. So that way, when the cops showed up and started shooting shit up, she couldn't die.
Yeah.
Now she's being escorted out with a bullet hole to her head. Looks across the street, and who's standing there? Like, I guess RV. The basically people, the 5 that out of the 7 she killed. I think that would have been a pretty cool twist to that because now she sees basically the people that she thought she killed are the ones responsible for her coming back to life.
In front of the cops with their jaw hanging out and their brain hanging out.
No. Remember, it's nighttime.
Well, no, they would have been hiding. They would have been hiding. I mean, like,
it's nighttime. I mean, they're not gonna stand
I see where Angel's going. I see where Angel's going on
the girl with the jaw stays in the RV because
yeah, like don't call attention to us.
And one thing too,
peek through the blinds.
Was it me or did this VHS 85 love to show people with their intestines hanging out? I think almost every single one had their intestines coming out.
Techno God wasn't intestines, right? It was just face and
it was just the face. All right, so that's
the
one that did. So Dreamkill did because when he beat the crap out of the guy in the house, pulled the intestines out. The God of Death did.
God of Death.
Because how many people got stabbed in the stomach?
and with no wake, he basically held out his intestines.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it was. I like the fact that they intertwined them, that they put them together. That was actually really, really cool. That's why I would have loved to see a little bit, like that's why like when she handed the gun, it was quick. So if you weren't paying attention, you weren't going to realize where the hell they got the gun from. Because when they showed them filling the water, like, are you sure it's going to work? It was like a quick segment, and then it goes into the. So I mean, for me, it's just I would love to see her reaction, the fact that she can't kill herself. She's being escorted out, and then here's the people. She looks across the street, and there's the RV with at least that dude with his fucking head out.
He could wear a hat
or some shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were good. They were definitely strong one, the strongest one out of two. I would say which one was the water one? It was Ambrosia.
No
right?
Wake.
No Wake. I would say
No Wake.
I would put No Wake a little bit more.
I would too.
Ambrosia.
All right, Ambrosia. Yeah.
But the look on her face when
Oh, it's
she like
comical.
wakes up after trying to kill,
Well,
like that
she still
moment.
shot herself.
That moment, like I felt so vindicated for those people. I was just
So
like,
did I.
fuck you.
Yeah. No,
Well,
you want to
see-
do a little comedy, and she's going outside. She sees them outside and looking out the windows. The girl pointing her jaw.
Oh, I missed that.
No, it didn't happen. It should have happened.
Oh. I'm like, I
Because the whole
totally
time the
missed
girl
that.
can't even talk. She's just holding her jaw in place.
Oh my god,
No,
that was good. I
like
love
for me, like this was the strongest segment. I agree that maybe it should have been played out throughout the whole movie over what we're going to talk about next. I enjoyed it. I have gone like with friends to the lake. I'm not a skier. I don't do any of that shit. Like no.
Nope.
Like I'm by the water. Like I'm gonna get up to here. Yeah, we're good. Like yeah, like I'm not like yeah, I'm not doing it. But it did bring back that feeling that I've had when I've gone with friends, and they've gone all skiing. I loved it. I love that it connected two stories. It's the first one in the VHS series to have done that. Because it ended in the first one with them saying, you got the license plate, and then them filling the gun. And then now the gun, the little kid. So they basically said, hey, when you see her, spray her with the water. And I loved it. These were my favorite segments in the whole movie. Seeing her trying to kill herself and she didn't die and she got taken in. But I didn't see, that's the whole thing. When this segment started, I didn't see it coming that it was going to connect to another one. So when it did, I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, oh shit.
I did the same thing. I think I made like an audible sound. I was like,
yeah,
no.
I'm like,
I think you know. I think you know why it was though, because when it ended, you're like, the fuck happened? Because it just ended with them just standing there, like, what the hell happened? So the fact that they wrapped around, they're like, oh, all right, okay, definitely.
And then they put stuff in between it. So then by then you're like, by the time you get to that one, you're expecting like something totally different.
Yeah. And I thought that because when she because we just talked about Pet Cemetery, when she goes, this is some Pet Cemetery shit. And the other girl goes, what is that? You didn't see that? And I'm like, I just saw bloodlines. So it's like, but I thought it was pretty cool timeline wise how it fell that we just did bloodlines, and they brought that up. All right, so let's talk about Total Copy or Rory. Because you guys brought up good points. There would have been some better wraparound movies in this one, and we got Rory. So, Angel, I'm going to go with you first. What did you think about Total Copy and Rory?
I hated it so much.
Same.
So I was trying to think. So I will only watch 99 once. I'm not going to watch it again. But I was trying to remember, like I was going back and thinking about all the connecting stories and like all the ones that have been so far. And this is like the weakest. Like even Viral's connection at least made more sense as far as the wraparound.
Yeah.
Yes. but this one I was like, I kept waiting for it to make sense. Like I kept waiting for more, and it ended up being this weird thing because it was like, okay, so there's like this weird blob thing. They've named it. They're like taking care of it, and they're like watching it and trying to figure it out. And then like the first really creepy thing that happens is like the face that it makes is supposedly like somebody who's there
the other doctor, yeah,
but he's never been in the
met.
room,
yeah,
and he's like, they're like, oh my god, and I'm like, seen this before. Like it was like, and then I thought it was gonna like build up to some cool shit where like he like or it turned into something more and like got out and like was out in the world and like it just turned into like a weird like not super great version of like The Thing. Like it was just like it just turned into like this monster thing and started killing it.
I would not use The Thing for a comparison.
Well, I mean, it's like,
I know.
Conceptually, definitely not an execution, right? And I was just like, at the end of it, I was making the same face you said. I think that part might get cut out. The part you said Adam made that face. I literally was like, that's the worst connection story they've had in the entire franchise. Like it didn't tie in. It didn't make sense. There was no purpose to it being like, it just never clicked for me. And it's like, and I love monster stuff. I love sci-fi horror, but like this was such a huge miss. On top of some of the other things, I think probably didn't help because a lot of the other pieces were weak too. So then but yeah, I think they made a mistake with this being the wraparound. This could have been a short if they really wanted to include it. Yeah. And then they should have had Dreamkill be the wraparound. And I think as a whole, it would have made the entire thing stronger.
JR, his face was still talking as you were talking because I feel he agreed with you. Like I'm like watching, like I'm listening to you, and JR's face is like, yeah, just right. So JR, why don't you tell us what your face just said?
David Gordon Green would have did a better movie.
Oh, no. Ow.
You know how much I hate that dude. He would have did a better movie than, sorry, David Bruckner, but fuck, dude. So when I started watching this, the first time I thought about, all right, they're doing a study on somebody who's a couch potato, because that's what I thought at first they were doing.
Because that was the start of.
Yeah, you didn't know what you were looking at.
You didn't know what you were looking at, and that's what I thought they were gonna go with. And then I'm like, all right, so he's transforming into a couch potato now. That's what he looked like at first, a little couch potato. So I'm like, all right, this is going into comedy thing. And then when they finally reveal the thing at the end, I'm like, really? What the fuck am I watching? And I looked at the time, I was like, all right, first of all, this thing is almost 2 hours long. So you had me watch almost a 2-hour VHS, and this is how you're ending it. And then the way you actually ended, that all he wanted was the bodies so he could mimic the exercises that they were showing on TV. Really? That
was bad.
Twist. Bad. I mean, this thing was so terrible. I didn't understand why they were doing it. Now, the other ones, even the Techno God had better actors than the ones in this one.
Yeah.
This looked like they try to take Stranger Things and turn it into 85, but then put something that they draft from Down Under that was really a couch potato, turn into a thing that you didn't even know what the hell it was when they show what it is. Just because it was so bored, it wanted to have somebody play with.
It was claymation.
It was the claymation Sinbad would have been better than this.
It was claymation. Like when it started, it was claymation. I'm like, I'm watching VHS, and are we really doing claymation? Is this what's going on right now? Is this how is this that? Oh God, yeah.
And this is the 80s. Who would call that thing Rory? Even the name was like, are you serious, Rory? You had the movie Less Than Zero. You could have named it after, what's his name? Oh my God, the guy Evil Dies Tonight. What's the hell's his name? I forgot his. Oh my God,
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, fucking Michael Hall. Maybe Michael Hall or Smiggs. But this was. Oh my God, I hated this one so bad. I was so disappointed because I didn't get what they were like at first. I thought it was a study of somebody who sat down. If they would have went that route, it would have been a little better. But they just kept every time they showed it, it went a whole different direction. And then when it finishes, you're like, wow, man, David Gordon Green, you know what? You could do better than this shit, bro. And I hate your guts, but this you would have made a better film than this guy. But yeah, this was the most disappointing wraparound story ever. And the fact that it was the one with the worst acting, the worst script, just the worst everything.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking one.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it short. I hated Rory. Like it was not fun. The use of claymation in the beginning threw me off. And I was done. And I was literally done. I there was nothing to get past that. So I hated Rory. I didn't. It was not a great wraparound. I'm gonna agree with you guys with Dream one being the wraparound. That would have been a cool story. But Rory was one of the weakest entries. Actually, for me, the weakest entry. I was going to put Technograd as one of the weakest ones. But and it sucks because my two weakest entries are in one movie.
Yeah.
Rory and Technograd. Because the other ones were great. I will not lie though. When we got to the lake, I was worried that we were going
Friday 13.
No, Creepshow 2.
I thought Friday 13.
I thought Creepshow 2.
I thought Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no, I went Creepshow 2. When they're showing the water, I'm like, oh no, are you guys ripping on Creepshow 2? But yeah, no, Rory, Final Cut, the worst. All right, so let's wrap this up, guys. Angel, you're gonna go first.
Okay. I really love this franchise. Like, I'm a huge found footage freak. Like, I love the VHS series a lot, minus Viral. And I feel like 99 was fine, but it was so comical. And I really, going into this, all I could say was like, please don't be funny, please don't be funny, please don't be funny. And it was not funny. That much I will say. It's not my least favorite, but it's so hard because 94 I think is my favorite one, even better than the original in my opinion. And it's going to be so hard to top what they've already done in the franchise because I don't know. And I felt like, again, we've said this multiple times. It's the VHS series is supposed to be about unique concepts, bringing in, these indie filmmakers that have great new, fresh ideas. And that was just not the case with this. Everything minus No Wake and Ambrosia was like a mashup of everything else in the genre that we've already seen. Including Rory. So I rated this slightly higher when I did it on my show because I had just watched it. So now that we've talked about it and I've had time to think about it, I'm gonna go. You guys do out of 5?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. I had to think about it. I do out of 10 because it gives me more room to be judgmental.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Three,
so
three,
okay.
Three,
so,
3 is like the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'll keep watching these probably. And I really liked those 2 segments, but this was a really weak installment. And it being as high as it's going to be for me and my rating is strictly because of No Wake and Ambrosia. And if I was rating just those 2, it would be a completely different rating. So for that, my rating for VHS 85 is 3 stars.
All right.
Yeah.
It's JR's turn. JR is like the worst. Like JR literally sits there and a movie.
He gave something a 0, right?
Not yet.
Half.
Not yet.
Gave it a half. That was
gave it a
I
half.
got 0.5.
That's right.
All right, JR.
All right, so take this date down because it is October 19th, 2023, and me and Angel actually have the same score.
What? That's a weird episode. Speaking of earthquakes and gods of death.
And the only reason I gave it a 3 out of 5 is because you had 3 good stories out of the 5. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
For us found footage lovers, VHS is basically the franchise.
Yeah.
The one that introduces us to to new directors,
No,
new
it's been a
people who are
rich
potential,
project,
and
Yeah.
to add to the add to the genre. Because
Mhm.
found footage genre, what makes found footage genre for me and for I'm sure Angel agrees is it is out of the horror genre is the most creative because you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're not restricted because the fact is you're trying to do it from the view of the victim. And unfortunately, this franchise continues to go on the downside because I feel like right now they're just rushing the product out to try to get out by October.
They already announced the next one and
Yeah.
the thing.
Oh no!
They're-
I
Yeah.
was wondering that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're rushing it out now. Dreamkill actually has something cool.
Mm-hmm.
You guys picked it up because when he's going up the stairs, he goes, "Man, this is like some Michael Myers shit. This is like
Everything.
Halloween,
Yeah.
Friday 13, Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre." I was like, "All right, that's good. Kudos to those franchises, especially during those times." Yeah. So when these come out, we look forward to them. We want to see what is new that's coming out now.
Yeah.
I will say this, Mike P. Nelson, do yourself a favor. You have a foundation for a good feature film
Yeah.
with No Wake and Ambrosia.
Oh my
Yeah.
Go
god.
back to it. Go back to
Yeah.
it. Make it into a
Oh.
feature. Make it
yeah.
into something where you could actually start off your own franchise away from
I'd watch
this
it.
one. Yeah.
Me too.
Do it separately. You have good potential to have your own franchise with the stories, the two stories you directed. But yeah, highly disappointed. As I'm watching it, I'll be honest, this was one of those that I felt like I had to watch it because I knew we were going to review it. And it was
no, but
no. But when I started watching it, I didn't have that whole, like Angel said, VHS 94. When you started watching it, it was bam, 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 bam. You were immediately hooked. This one didn't have that hook and opening sequence.
No.
It lingered way too long, and then when you finally get the first story, you're like, all right, this is good. Then the mistake it did, it stopped it. Which you paused the good story and you left us like, what's going on now? And then you jumped to freaking the other ones. But yeah, for me, 3 out of 5. Man, I hope they learned their lesson because right now I just feel like they're losing some of the found footage, fan base because they're not putting out the films that they have potentially they can put out. And yes, stop doing stuff we've seen before. Something more original.
Like 94, literally from start to finish.
I didn't know that some of the stuff was I've seen before. You guys saw that before me. All right, so I will say that for me, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I enjoyed it, but Angel, I agree with you. No Wake, Ambrosia, strong points. Dreamkill, second strong point. Like those are your 2 strong points in this movie. The rest were not as strong as we're used to or want. So yeah, like I Adam made me hate this movie more only because after it was done, he's like, he like looked at me, he's like, really? I just went through this. And I'm like, I know, but let me explain to you. He's like, no, he was not having it.
I could see that.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, it's not the strongest segment in this series. The ones that we all liked, actually, No Wake, Ambrosia is up there. But the thing is, in the past, we've all have picked segments that we all found strong. And this one did not have the same thing that the rest had. It was very lacking, at least for me. Guys, do you agree?
Yeah.
And your connected one was not that great. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right. So what do we have next year?
So on October 26th, we're going to do our live stream. And we're going to do a different topic that we feel like gets a little avoided, as far as the horror genre. And we're going to talk about witches and warlocks. When's the last time you watched a great witch film or a film that had a warlock in it? So, yeah, join us October 26th at 8 o'clock for Witches and Warlocks live stream here on Horror Fiend TV. And if you want to dress up, take pictures. We ain't dressing up as witches or warlocks, but we're gonna be good.
No commitment.
I might dress up.
Joe dress up as your warlock, or leave comments below what Joe should dress, and then we'll see if he dresses like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna. No comments. Don't tell me.
Leave comments. Please know what you want Joe to dress like, and he will do it.
No. Nobody tell me what it's. Jerry, you're an asshole. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you watch VHS. The whole series is good. Mm-hmm. We're all talking about what we like and don't like. And I mean, that's basically what we're doing. So thank you for joining us. So until next time, I mean, we got the 3 corners tonight with Angel. Rick, feel better. We miss you. Like literally me and JR. Actually, I need you because JR can be kind of, But until next time, 3 corners of horror is out. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and until next time, ta-ta for now.
Bye, Gigi Saul Guerrero.